It's a beautiful Monday afternoon. We are here once again to take a look at issues as it affects you and I in this wonderful continent of ours, Africa, on the program Africa Discourse. We're here to talk about the impact of power in Africa's social, economic, and political development. Africa, in quote right now, has been known as the dark continent. I didn't use the word black, I use the word dark in the sense that at night, if you use the aerial view, you get to realize that in comparison to the US, the North and South America, Europe and Asia, you get to see, semblance of lights emanating from the aerial view. But when it comes to Africa as a continent, a little or low spark, quite dark in contrast to others at night. I'm probably talking about the power essence, the essence of power in Africa's socio-economic development. Well, how does it affect us? We're talking about technology, talking about information, talking about innovation, and all these things cannot happen unless we have ample or adequate supply of power. Our power situation right now in Africa, how is it affecting our development? With me here in the studio, he is a political analyst, public affairs commentator, human rights activist, and of course, a clergyman. Join me to welcome Reverend Humphrey Arega. Reverend, welcome to Africa Discourse. Appreciate your comment.
Pleasure. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, viewers, for being there.
All right. Now, it's like Africa has been plagued with this power problem. You go to northern part of Africa, you go to the southern part of Africa, the eastern, the western part of Africa, they seem to have these common complaints. Say for some very few countries in Africa that have been able to at least overcome this form of epileptic power supply. How did we get here?
Well, thank you very much. It's a very, I want to use the word funny situation, but very complex and also very far-reaching, because we live in a global village. If we live in a global village, the global village is made possible by reason of energy. You can visualize, or you can look at the spectrum of light and be able to get across to others. But I keep wondering why we keep allowing ourselves to be told that we are a developing country, we are third world, then we are in the dark continent, you see. Everything is by perception. What you say you are is what people take you to be. And what that means is the attitude towards which we approach issues. What is important to you, you devote time and resources to get it to your endpoint. I ask myself the question, do Africans really want to be integrated into the world economic system? If yes, there are a lot of things to be done which we don't need to reinvent. There are a lot of things that have been done by the Western world. All we just need is to take and incorporate. It isn't because we do not have the human capacity. That's because most of these inventions and all are mostly based on human capacity production. Yet we have it in Africa in abundance. But we do not have the political and the leadership will, because nations rise and fall on leadership. You have to ask yourself. We were in the same condition with the Asian world, the China, Singapore, Malaysia. We were on the same rank, but look at what they've done. They had a plan. This is where the Americans are. We need to catch up with them so that we can be relevant. And they gave themselves a period of time, and they walked through it. And today, America is struggling to keep its first line charge, if I use that word, with the Asian countries. But the Africans seems to be very much on the negative end. So we've had leadership and political crisis. And once there is no stability of thought, Once there is no long-term plan, nothing succeeds by imagination. Nothing succeeds by a jump and start issue. You lay out the framework. You lay out the parameters of thought. You count the cost implication and look at why you're going to go do it. African is so much blessed. Yes, we are so much poor. Then again, like I said, is your ability to harness your natural resources with your human resources that produces the place you'll be. And that's what the Asians have done. So I believe that until we upgrade our mental thought, because everything you do is concluded in your mental thoughts. You reason it, you process it. It is when you are satisfied that you bring it forth. So if you don't process it well, you're going to have a faulty thing. So those are some of the things. We have not really processed our thoughts. Ask yourself how many countries have long-term plan. Those days we used to hear 10-year development plan. But where are they? They fizzled out because nobody's talking of 10 years. Everybody's talking of immediate. So we are stuck in the issue of trade, buying and selling, instead of manufacturing. We have not developed our thought to say, well, you may not have the benefits today, but what does it take us to get to tomorrow? We are not ready to pay the price of what it takes today for tomorrow to be a better one. So these are some of the things, and I believe that if only we can but just get our leadership thought right, then other things will follow. If not, we'll still be groping in the dark.
All right. Now, it used to be a Nigerian problem. We get to have this power blackout, so to speak. All of a sudden, we started hearing news that Ghana also, they are undergoing the same kind of situation whereby there's a drop in their energy supply. In South Africa, also once upon a time, not too long ago, it happened in South Africa, a drop in the energy supply. What do you think is giving rise to all of this?
Well, there are a lot of things, and one may not be able to explain because I may not get to the minds of other people.
Yeah.
But one of the things that have happened, like I said, we do not have set goals of immediate, short-term and long-term goals. When you are creating a product, for instance, you should be able to ask yourself, in the next 5 years, where does this product get to? Then you should be able to look at the population explosion. In the next 5 years, how many persons are going to be consuming this product? Will what I'm producing now be sufficient for the next 5 years? Then in the next 5 years, you're going to ask yourself, what are those things that may have to be joined into it that will make it much more demanding? So those are some of the things. We do not think of population explosion. We are not very detailed in our analysis of what it takes. Nigeria, for instance, is suffering because if you go to the Gorara Dam or you go to the other dam that supplies us, Kainji Dam, we still have the same facility we had 20 years ago, or even more. And yet the demand for those products have quadrupled in large numbers. So what has happened? You have not expanded your production base to be able to produce more. And these are some of the things. Two is the fact that we have also gotten ourselves into the fact that we only believe that only thermatic power, we get it from the water grids, that can give us energy. But nations like America now have graduated from just thermatic power to wind and other power. So you segment your society and look at yourself. There are environments where heat is very much, where you have a lot of sun. Why do you have to wait for diesel energy to get your thing thrown? What's happening to the wind? What's happening to the atmosphere? Which are much more natural and durable, which you find in America and in Europe, some other places, because they harness all these energies. I told somebody sometime, we visit Israel most of the time, and say, Israel does not have a lot of oil to be able to get their energy. They don't have a lot of water. But you don't have light season in Israel because they use the sun. And each house, what they did was that They make sure houses were powered by the sun, and industries are powered by the energy source, because that is the base of living. You need more of the energy to power your machineries than to power your house. And so they divided it. They're living a good life. Here in Nigeria, everything is. Two is the fact that we are not also segmented. We are so centralized in our thoughts that we believe that only one source can do it. Whereas in UK, in America, even boroughs and local governments produce energy. Businesses produce their energy. And so you are not waiting for one source. Business like iron and steel, for instance, they should be able to produce their energy to power their thing, because they should have the machinery. Okay, so these are some of the things. We have not allowed ourselves, because we so much concentrated ourselves on some individual. There's no way one individual can supply all our needs. It's not done anywhere. But yeah, that's where the Africans are. Because the African leaders do not believe that subletting powers and resources is good for them. They say, though everybody wants to grab things, they have to issue all the command, they have to issue. It's like you talk about, for instance, policing of security of the nation. Yeah. You go to America, you go to Britain, the local county in America has its police structure. When things are done, they don't call on the federal police services. They solve it. Then they move on to the state, they move on to the federal. It is when
like a step-by-step thing.
Yes, it's a step-by-step thing. Yeah. And if you don't do it like that, you can never succeed. You are waiting for somebody who is miles apart, who may not even understand what you're talking about. And by the time he figures out what's happening, you're already gone several days behind. So these are some of the things. So we don't have enough understanding of letting things done in their grades and in their sizes, so that we can begin to look at things. Edo State, for instance, has a lot of things to be able to, has a lot of resources to be able to produce light for their community. But today, if you produce light in any state, they take it to the power grid before they can distribute. That's a mundane thought that somebody, one person has to. You don't, you see. So in the smaller units that if you can create them, runs faster and better than when you are looking at a massive environment and you're thinking of what needs to be done. So if there's a disaster in that one magnitude, everything is gone. And that's but when you diversify yourself, everything cannot go off the same day. And today we're talking of our grid getting destroyed, whether by sabotage or by anything. It's because it is concentrated in one place. And people can easily get there.
All right. Now, some are saying the reason why we are not developing the pace we ought to have developed is because of these hazards in the power sector. How true is that as a continent?
Yes, you see, everything depends on power, energy, to be able to produce anything. You tell me that if you want to produce a rod, you need your energy to be able to do the various dimensions of work, to be able to do that. So energy is a key to the development of any society. If you don't have it, we've come a long way from the mundane things, okay? You use all your energy to hammer a lot of things and others. How many can you produce in that respect? But with your energy, there are faster things to do. You're able to produce machineries, you're able to produce, you're able to do a lot of things. So just take, for example, when you are trying to iron your dress. You go back to the charcoal age. You know how long it takes you to let the charcoal heat up before you can use it to iron your dress. And sometimes when it's getting too hot, you cannot regulate it. It burns your dress. But when you take the iron of today, it takes a few minutes and you can regulate it, because the energy flow is there for you to be able to regulate. So if we don't have energy, we can't produce anything. You can't use your ordinary hand to try to dig out gold and bring out the fineness of it. No, you need a blower. Blower, those days that you use the leg and to pump, takes a long period to be able to get there. But with your electrical issues, you are able to do it faster. So energy is a source, stable and regular energy. Affordable is a means of development, because if you don't have it, you are going to have a labor force. What 50 men can do, 2 people can do it with electrical and machinery appliances. So you are saving costs, you are saving labor, and you are producing more. And that's some of the things. So it is a critical factor. So any nation that wants to develop must sit down to make sure that their energy sector is well maintained and regulated, and that there is a constant procedure of how you can upgrade. You can't be using 20 years, 30 years of machinery to try to power a nation of. At that time, maybe our nation was about 20-something million. Now you are talking about 200-something million. How do you do it? So these
are you not saying that population is a factor to consider when you talk about energy distribution?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying right now?
Yes, consumption is important. If people are going to consume your business, so the more the population, the more the consumption rate is going to be. Whether it is by housing, because you're going to produce more houses, you're going to produce more energy. A lot of things are being produced. Today, in those days, how many people have air conditioners in their homes? Today, almost every house has an air conditioner. So you have to use more energy to produce. Today, those days when we're in the village, nobody talks about freezer, deep freezer to freeze anything. Today, you need to freeze your products. True. So you use a lot of energy. That's some of the things. We are consuming more energy because it helps us to live faster and better life. But it comes at a cost. And if you don't replenish where you are getting it from, you are going to be hamstrung along the road, and that's where the frustration comes in.
All right, now you talked about technology that is readily available when you talk about the world. People like saying that tech can easily be purchased, but when you have the purchasing power, and of course you can barter tech with your natural resources. Now in Africa, we have lots of countries blessed with human and natural resources. And of course we have this relationship with other countries of the world that can easily make us buy their tech to help us, beef up, or will I say salvage our power situation. But how come this isn't happening?
Yeah, like I said earlier, part of the problem is poor leadership and poor thinking. Another is the issue of greed. Because you see, the problem with the African society, like I keep saying, the reason why the Americans and other people have developed, what we say, well, it's not democracy, it's not anything. The manner of leadership development affects your other developmental issues. Thinking, it's a knowledge is power.
Yeah.
And when you don't have the thinking ability to look beyond yourself, today, most of the African leaders and society believe that knowledge is inimical to them. Because when a man is knowledgeable, he is in a position to criticize constructively and also enable him to take decisions independently from others. But the African leaders believe that everybody must be subject to them. They believe in the fact that they have all that it takes. But no one is an island of thought. You need a lot of persons to do something. So until we have leaders who are broad-minded, leaders who are forthright thinking, leaders who rule by morals and not by greed and not by selfish tendencies, will not be able to get to anywhere. So these are some of the things. Nations over the world are thinking of how to improve on what they meant. But Africans are destructive in their thought. A political party comes to power, everything that another political party has done, they want to eliminate it because they don't want to share in the glory of a good job. And before you know what, you cannot finish everything, because most of these technological breakthroughs are not things you take off the shelf. They were developed over time. It takes time for them to be able to. We'll be building Kainji Dam for this one in Adamawa. They'll be building it for how many years? It's not finished. Look at our steel industry. They build it to a point, now we can't get it. But these are things that you will use and you need to make your technological breakthrough. Again, we're talking about, most of the time, the Europeans and the Americans today, is also a trade by barter for them. They're able to produce materials, but they need resources to do it. So they come to the base of the resources, and by bargaining power, they're able to take more from you than you would need because you do not have understanding. I keep saying, I've said it many times, when African nations are going to Western or even China to negotiate for things, they don't go with people who have knowledge. They use their political instincts. And the man in the US or in China, they're not coming with their political instinct, they're coming with their knowledge, their knowledgeable instincts. So they tell you by their expertise. Nobody tells you all that it is. You need to be able to find out some of those things. And so the negotiating skills that are needed for us to have the benefit of our trade by barter is lost by reason of our political greed. Okay? And then you talk about corruption. Most of the time, we get inferior materials and goods because those who are supposed to be negotiating on our behalf want to take part of it for themselves. They have kickbacks and all of them. And by the time people have paid you money, you see, the American prices themselves in dollar to dollar. If you are making business with you, they get the value of their dollar of how much it takes. So if you are coming with them to do business and you are telling them, this product is going to cost $3, but you give me $2 for myself, and then give me a product of $1. They will give you a product of $1. They will give you a product of $3. But because that is what you need. And so the money is somewhere. So if we are going to be truthful to ourselves and we have our moral instinct with us, we can get to where we're going to. But if not, we will keep on doing this because by the time they bring your substandard technology, it doesn't go through. And that's why you see, even in purchase of drugs and others, even in some of the things we buy, most of them are second-hand. You cannot buy some of the products we buy in Nigeria and buy them in the US. It will not. Not too long ago, somebody talks about the fact that they were transporting Coca-Cola and Fanta from here. And they couldn't take it to Europe because it was substandard.
It was substandard?
Yes. And they had a loss. Yet that's what we consume here. We think it is. So that's why you look at things, you're asking yourself. You look at the wristwatches, we look at the phones we have. Most of these products cannot be sold in their country of origin because they're substandard. And because of the unfaithfulness, of the greed of those who are supposed to be on our behalf, trying to pull out some of these things.
Are all this related to the power situation in Africa as a continent?
Yes, because the machineries you bring to try to do power cannot give you the best results you are looking for. If you need a 2.5 mm, for instance,
yes,
and then what you have using that is 1.2, in less than 6 months, you burn off because it can't carry the capacity it's supposed to take. Okay, the same thing. If you are using the machinery, yes, and that machinery is supposed to have a lifespan of 10 years, but the one you are bringing has already been spent over there, and you are bringing a second hand just painted. It will not go beyond the manufacturer's age. Even if you brought it today to Nigeria, it will spend, if you have spent already 8 years there, and it only has a 2-year lifespan, it will only spend a 2-year lifespan and it breaks down. And we are thinking, what have we done? It's because we have not done what is right. And if we keep on doing this, we are only punishing ourselves. We think that we are smart by cutting corners. And when you cut corners, you have a loss. And that's where we are.
All right. Now, some of the opinion that the reason why we're having this power situation in Africa is because of our business mogul are involved in importing power generating sets. Is there any relationship with this? Well,
they're in business. I would say that. But again, that's the kind of political and leadership software that we have. Yeah. You have to ask the question. Most of those who are importing these machineries, some of them are those who are supposed to be responsible for giving us light on a constant basis. They are in the business to gain, not to lose. So they are more interested in themselves rather than what will benefit others. And I just give you the example. When we had NITE, yeah, the landline, you know that lines are always going off. Because I used to be in charge with the church, where I was accountant with the NITEL office. If you tell them that your phone is bad, first of all, if you are going to make a call, you have to go and line up.
You have to line up?
Yes, to be able to get a call through, because you may not have line in your house. If you are able to get a line in your house, and sometimes the phone goes off, you go to NITE to ask them to come and fix it. What they do most of the time, they take another person's own to fix your own. And when you leave, they take it again and fix another person's own. So you're always going there. We're always going to Niger to go and look at phone. So when Obasanjo came with the issue of smartphone, there was a riot. Those in Niger couldn't understand why, because that's where they're getting from. Okay, even look at the light issue.
Yes.
The war between prepaid meter and analog. We can't get prepaid meter because when you have a prepaid meter, you control your consumption by yourself. The NEPA or BEDC people are not coming, will come to your house again. But they have refused because they have to come. Sometimes they overbill you, and then you negotiate. Your negotiation does not go to the office. It goes to the people who are doing it. So, and sometimes you see, they say, oh, your, what do they call them now? For your light to go on, you have these machines.
Prepaid meters?
No, not even prepaid meters now. The machines that have to do the connections and all for doing that. They say it's spoiled.
Okay.
You ask yourself, how did it get spoiled? If you look at that, they ask you to come and generate money to repair it. It's not your product. You are paying for the light.
So by transformer right now?
Your transformer.
Yes.
You are paying for the light they are giving you.
Yes.
But when the transformer goes back, which is their product, they are responsible. They ask you to
Tell
pay.
you to compare.
Communities pay, and some of them cannot even be replaced. You're asking yourself the question. So every time and then, most of these staff who are not, I don't even want to use some language here, but they have shown themselves not to be faithful workers. They need more. They come and tell you, oh, bring this one, bring this one. Because that's where they think that their money will come from. And so when you have a regular prepaid meter, they've lost the business. So these are some of the things. So it is the greed in the individuals and the immoral acts that have created most of the problem. It's not because we do not have the capacity to give ourselves in Nigeria a stable life. It is, there's there. But the point is too, you also find that we as citizens also create problems. People tap light into their homes without the providers knowing. So there's an overload. Oh, they think, oh, we gave this community about 40 lines of light. Now what we are seeing is more than 60. Where's the other 20 coming from? Okay. Again, it's between the Nepal officials and those individuals who help them to connect without anything. So it is a combination of issues. But I think if we can get the leadership right, I keep talking about leadership. If we get the leadership right and we are able to obey laws and orders, then we're able to get. You can't do that in America, for instance. You can't do that in London, in Britain. You are doing the house, everything is surveyed, everything. Today, we don't even have surveys of the areas we live in. You don't know how many communities, how many people live in the community. Why? If you don't have those statistics, how do you plan? How do you do anything?
How do you plan? How do you really do anything? Because if you just joined us, this is Africa Discourse. We're taking a look at, the place of power in socio-economic development in Africa as a continent. All right, we'll return after this break. We'll take a look at the complaint. Yes, because a group of persons went to the House of Representatives to complain that many companies are beginning to leave the shores of Nigeria because they're being wooed by other African countries. Do you think that power is the cause of all this, or do we have something else at play that we do not know? My analyst will be the one to throw more light on this. Don't go away. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for staying tuned. If you just joined us, this is Africa Discourse. We're taking a look at the place of power in socio-economic development in Africa. Before we went on that break, we'll take a look at a complaint raised by some individuals saying that companies are beginning to leave the shores of Africa, bring it down home to Nigeria. Many companies are beginning to leave the shores of Nigeria because other countries are beginning to call for their attention, beginning to woo them into their country. People are like asking question, why is it happening? We have ratings of companies that are folded up and right now they're elsewhere doing so great. Reverend, companies leaving the shores of Nigeria, leaving the shores of some African countries, going to where they feel, what they have in store will be of great benefit to them and, of course, to the people they want to go meet. What do you think is making these companies to leave?
Well, thank you for the question, but I don't think that we should have a doubt of why they should leave. Because it is very apparent to us that a lot of things have gone wrong. Every businessman is in a business to gain more and then to get returns for his investments. And there are conditions under which investments can be feasible. First of all, one of the things you need to have is political stability in a country. If a country is not stable, then nobody is ready to do business with who you are not sure about. Two is the fact that we just talked about energy. Energy is a veritable need for any business to succeed. In Nigeria today, business people produce their own energy, they produce their security, they produce their water, they produce everything. How do you expect that? And then upon that, they have serious tax problems because they are taxed by local government, taxed by state government, taxed by federal government. And you're asking yourself, where are these things coming from? And then, of course, there's a whole lot of instability that have been added to it. Some companies have had their workers kidnapped for ransom. Some workers are being terrorized by bandits, by herdsmen, by law. So there is a lot of things that are happening that are not good for business environment. And two, we have a somersault of policies. Every day there is change of policy. And so if I'm not sure of what is going to happen to my business tomorrow, I should think twice whether I want to throw away my money or invest it somewhere else. So we have all these as part of the problem. And then you begin to talk about human capital development, too, as part of the analysis. The other one I almost forgot is the fact that in Nigeria today, there are different levels of problems. You have youths in communities that makes businesses impossible. The youths demand everything that can make everybody just leave. They're not producing, they're not productive to your business, but they want to make your business. They want to get money that they didn't put there. So you are looking forward to where do I invest? Because every businessman wants to have an investment. If you put your money in the bank uses it. You are not the one benefiting. You are benefiting very little. So you need to put it in a business that can give you products. And you need to be able to have your peace of mind. Today, nobody can determine how much the dollar rate is to Naira. And that's also, most of the businesses will need the dollar because that is international trading currency. Most of the products you are looking for are not here. Most of the machineries are not here. So if you are going to import the things you need a stable dollar to be able to know, okay, how do I plan? Because business thrives on planning. In the next 5 years, where will my business get to? What is the expansion rate? There are some of the things. So every of these indices is absent in Nigeria right now. Everyone. And so those who are there are just asking. And so our neighboring countries that looks a little bit more stable are telling them, look, our place is more stable. Take, for example, how many businesses today have what we call tax holiday? You go to UK, you go to America, you are starting a business, they give you a period of holiday. where you will not pay tax to government. Okay? They want you to stabilize. But Nigeria, you don't have that. The day you start your business, they start paying taxes. And the way and manner the taxes are demanded, you find people bursting into your house and just make anything. Some of them destroy your property because they want to recover taxes. These are some of the obnoxious situations that people see. And so our neighbors are taking advantage of it. They are looking at, let us do what they are not doing there. When you go to Ghana, for instance, they give you more liberal rates. We're told right now that the currency situation in Ghana is stable for some years. So they know that at least from the past 5 years or so, they know how much the CD is to the dollar.
The dollars.
Okay? So, and even Republic of Benin. Okay, then you also look at the issue of environment. Our port system is the worst run port system in the whole of West Africa, on the whole of Africa. Okay? So people decide to take their goods to other ports, then to transport it here. We are losing. So we have not managed our environment well. We have not created the environment needful for business to thrive. And so a man who has his money and wants to invest it will not be investing it in a hostile environment. He will go to a place where he can have some.
Are you not saying that Nigeria is a hostile environment for business as against what the federal government assures investors that when they come to Nigeria, they're going to get dividends of what they are here to do?
It is not what is said, it's what is done.
Not what is said, what is done.
Yes, what is done. They were doing analysis on AIT some days ago. They're talking of 10 nations, 10 states that have not had foreign investment for the past 3 years. That we're talking about. If it was good, will they not come? They will. I was talking to somebody some days ago. I said some time ago, each person used to look for how he can get to Obudu Ranch.
Yes.
To have some realization. Even foreigners come. Today you can't go there. There are no roads. The facilities are run down. Some time ago I went to this a hotel at Lokoja. This conference hotel. Last year we had a program. By the time I got there, it was a sorry sight. You go to Nikeru's, the same thing, because we do not know how to manage. Sometimes we just know how to, again, managing, like I said, depends on the atmosphere of what has been created by government to enable you. When you don't have security of life and property, which is a very critical thing you need, and then you don't have the various facilities you need, your business can run. So people are very much, those who have been reluctant to leave have found it difficult to stay. Okay, you look at the Niger Delta, for instance, the big oil companies. Every day there is kidnapping and all of them. There is a whole lot of activities that are going on that you can't even make production possible. So they are looking for somewhere. They are prospecting oil. Not too long ago, they discovered oil in Ghana. So not too long ago, they discovered oil in Chad. So we are no longer the absolute persons within the West Africa regions who have the product we are talking about. So if they have something there and it's better, they pull out their investment. And then let's see how you will survive with your hostility and all. When you see you have oil and it's not drilled, you can't drink it.
You can't drink it.
Okay?
All right.
And you can't drill the oil by yourself. So
now, some are of the opinion that if you fix the power problem, these companies will just likely stay.
No,
how true is that?
No, it's an assumption.
Because according to them, that seems to be the primary subject of the matter.
Yes, you see, power is one of the important ingredients that will make a company stay. Well, but if you have energy and you don't have security, nobody will stay. If you have energy and you don't have good roads, nobody will stay because they need to pull out their products. If your waterways are not safe, now nobody can enter the rails now, which are supposed to be the product. When the roads are bad, they go to the rails. Now the roads are no longer safe. So how do you evacuate your products? So there are all of them go together. Again, we're talking about political and administrative powers. If there's no political stability, nothing will work because there are no issues, no discussions can take place in an atmosphere of hostility. True. So if we don't have good leadership who can control, who can help to galvanize, because it is the leader that will bring everybody together on a round table to discuss. You look at the issue of banditry and all of them.
Yes.
Tell me, how has it been handled? You can't. Who is going to discuss with who? Who are you discussing with? The state government will tell you, we don't have power to control the forces to control the security, but you take security votes. What do you do with it? You see, so these are some of the things. We give excuses for our inability to do our work, not finding solution to the problem. Every problem has a solution, except and unless we're not willing to, which is present in Nigeria today. We're not willing to solve the problem because some persons are gaining from the chaos. I told somebody some time ago, we were discussing, I said, when you talk about herdsmen farmers clash, for instance, the herdsmen that drive the cattle are not the owner. Somebody owns the cattle. They were just employed to do what they're doing. And those who own the cattle aided them with guns to save, not to save the herdsmen, is to save their cattle. And you don't buy gun as a toy. You buy it as warfare. So you have already created a warfare activity in their hearts. That's what it is. So when you are not doing what needs to be done, is it because we cannot? Nigeria does not rank among the best, among the first 10 countries that produce cow. I'm not sure whether they're in the first 20 that produce cow. Yet those who are American, Canada and all of them, who produce cow in their abundance, do not have cow roaming the streets. It's a business. So these are some of the things. When we don't do things right, you can't be expecting the right thing. They say if you do the same thing the same way over and over, you're expecting a different result. That's madness. Okay? So we can, if we want to.
All right.
We can have, if it's a business, like you said, somebody who wants to own cow, go and buy land and see where you tend your cow.
Tend your cow.
And yet, we don't have the best of cow in the world. Look at the American cow, look at the Nigerian cow.
All right.
That's the point.
All right, now let's come back to power. Before start comparing cows, American cow versus Nigerian cow. And let's leave that on one hand. Now it's like the power problem in Africa vis-a-vis Nigeria has defied solutions. You get to hear billions of dollars, not naira, are pumped into our power sector. Still no headway. How can we get out of this mess?
Yes, it's a simple thing. Like I said earlier, you cannot expect one person to produce light for the whole nation. Diversify it. Remove the issue of energy, just like we're doing on other things, from the federal government. Again, I go back to, that's
what they've done already.
No, they have not done it. There are 3 segments of light issue.
Yes.
The production, the transmission,
yes.
and the distribution. The federal government still holds the production and the transmission. They only try to give out the distribution, and yet they still control it halfway.
Wow.
So if you don't remove your hand, I've said it before, and I read it, I agree. Government is not prepared to do business anywhere in the world. It is not the business of a government is to regulate and create an atmosphere.
Regulate and create an atmosphere.
Let the independent individuals who are business minded, who know what business is, do business. You collect your taxes, okay? And then you set regulations and rules of how this thing should be done. So that if there's an infraction, you can now bring them to order. When you are the one who is doing the infraction, and you are the one who is supposed to be punishing, nothing goes on, because they are the same people. So I ask you a question. Why will states not be able to produce energy for their people? Why will local governments not be able to produce energy for their people? Why should I be waiting for Kanji Dam?
Now, do you think that if states and local governments produces energy, all this will be a thing of the past?
They will, because it's functioning in the world. You go to, like I said, you go to America, you go to Britain, you go to some of these countries. That's what they do. You allow people to, because if I'm going to produce a 10 megawatt,
yes,
I have the capacity to produce that. there's a location that can fit into it.
True.
Or somebody has an ability to produce 100 megawatts. So you produce according to your ability and serve. Two, I also say that if we again, I use the issue of telephone.
Yes.
Today, MTN, Glo, Airtel, they struggle for customers. And they give incentives, and they are producing the thing. Unlike when NITE was the only one we had. We didn't go anywhere. We couldn't make telephone calls. We couldn't do anything because it was just one person, one organization. So now that we have diversification of it, we have much more relaxed energy. And then everybody's using the thing freely. The same thing with energy. Let it go down. Let people be able to produce. If a local government can produce, or 3 local governments can provide that, it's okay. But not even local government people. Let persons within that environment.
Individuals to produce.
Yes, individuals.
Who will not regulate the individuals?
Who will regulate?
Who regulate that? Because
no,
right now, if you get to allow individuals to start producing a power, according to report, there may be a huge mismanagement of that power resources.
No, I just asked you, who regulates, who produces NPN, Glo, and others? They are business people. The government regulates them. They tell you this is the boundaries that you operate with. Yeah, there's a market product, but these are the boundaries you operate with. They give you the regulations, the rules, and you operate by it. That's what we're saying. Government people are not trained. Civil servants are not trained to be business people. You see, for everything you do, it's like you are in the studio as a broadcaster. I can go to university and read mass comm.
True.
It doesn't make me a broadcaster.
True.
I need to get to the industry. I need to understand the industry. When you leave the university, you still have a plain paper in your hand. But when you get to the industry, you understand the nitty-gritty of the industry and how it operates. The mentality of the civil servants is not the same mentality of the private organization. It's not. Okay?
Yeah.
Because as far as the civil service is concerned, they are not trained for profitability. They are trained for maintenance. The business people are trained for productivity. Okay? If you don't produce, you are not producing, you are gone.
So now, for what you're saying, the aspect of power generation, production, the aspect of transmission and distribution should be given to individuals for us to have a stable power supply.
Yes, they should be given out. But don't give it to yourself, because what we did last time when we talked about privatization was that most of those privatizations were bought by civil servants and politicians. They were not given in a playground where everybody has to have a playground to do. And then you have to talk about capacity. If you don't have capacity, don't attempt it. That's why we're talking about business. We're talking about, okay, this is what you need to do, and this is the capacity you need to get. You're not able to get it, forget it. But if you are in government does not, you cannot go and tell government capacity. They assume, and they take whatever they want. So these are some of the things. We need to do the right thing with the right reason or with the right frame of mind to get the right result. If not, we'll just be talking about nothing.
Wow.
Look at the issue of transportation, for instance.
Yes.
Where is Nigerian Airways? It's gone. Nigerian Airways died because civil servants were freely taking tickets and using the Nigerian Airways without paying.
Wow.
And Nigerian Airways has to buy aviation fare. They have to maintain the plane.
Maintain the planes.
It is not free. But yet the civil servants were enjoying it. It went down. Our private airlines not flying? They are. And some of them are expanding their market.
True.
There's some of the issues. So if you can't tell a private person, he will tell you the whole of his family every year be entering plane free of charge. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
Free of charge.
They calculate the losses and profits and tell you if they give you a ticket once in 5 years, you are lucky for that. Okay? Or they tell their staff just enter anywhere you go, you want to go.
So for what you say right now, to stabilize Africa's power situation, private individuals should come into play.
Yes.
From generation, transmission,
to
distribution.
Yes. You may not give it to one person, but let the individuals. There can be people, individuals who are just generating. They generate. And there are others who, but it's like products. Take for instance, it is not the baker, for instance, that sells their bread most of the time. It's maybe one location or two, but it's individuals who come to buy and sell. The baker gets his money, he produces the bread. The marketer gets his money from the product, and the person gets his product. So some of it's a chain of command, you know. And if you don't do it well, you failed. Look at also the transportation industry, for instance. Look at Edo State. Where is ECTS? We're talking about where is Edo Line? But you have seen Ameosa Moto. You have seen Ikele Delichuku. They are still there because it is run with the mind of profit, not exploitation.
Are you now saying that we're being exploited right now? We're talking about power in Africa.
Of course. To get light in my own house now, I know how much I pay. If it was wrong way, I won't pay that. I won't, because of what you see. That was it. Thank God I talk because I've been to some other countries. I was in the Bahamas for 2 years. Small country. You don't see the waterboard people in your house. Neither do you see the light people in your house. If your consumption has finished, they switch it off from their station.
They calculate, regulate everything.
Yes. They don't come to your place. They send you a bill. You go to pay, you don't need to go there to talk to them. Once you are paid, by the time you get home, your things are connected. So these are some of the things. We need to begin to do things right. If you do your things right, people are paying for it. Today we are paying, in Nigeria, we are paying for services not rendered. I'm paying it at a very huge cost. You know, and that is a problem in itself. If people are enjoying whatever they are doing, they're able to get what they are talking about. Okay? And it is that. Let it flow. Let it flow in a. Give the people prepaid meters. Let them control their consumption. If I leave my house in the morning and come back in the evening, I don't have light. I don't need light. I'm able to regulate it. Okay? But if I come in the night that I need light, I should be able to know what to do. I go and buy my card. If you finish it, I go and replenish it. That's what it is. But here you have people, the country, they will not produce the meters. Even though that are produced, you can't get it to buy. They say you to buy it, and yet it's not supposed to be bought because it's not your property. They fix it to your house, you don't remove it. You only so use the light. Now you can't even use. They come and estimate bills for you. I have asked some of them, I said, do I have machinery in my house? Do I do production in my house? That you are giving me 30-something thousand a month. So what do I do with it? Wow. I don't have things that consume light. Every day you are saying whether they are increasing it or not, nobody is telling you. You cannot do that in a civilized country. If you are going to increase anything, they tell you. They are going to seize your light, they give you 24-hour notice. And they tell you when the light will come back. And it will come. In Nigeria, for some days now, we have not seen lights. You can't talk to anybody. You know, these are some of the things. So we have not decided to do something right. Until we do, let's take politics out of business. Let government govern and let them do what needs to be done. Set the rules, but let the business people who are understanding do the business. So that together in that fund, we can produce the best for our life.
Thank you so much, Reverend. We're all on fire. You were like, just like, this is what is happening. This is what we need done. Right. And I know they are watching, they are listening. But if you really want to, give us a kind of a time frame, if private individuals are allowed to come into business of generating, transmitting, and of course distributing, how long do you think this power problem will give way for more power to come into Africa continent?
Well, it is not magical.
Yeah.
It is. First of all, you need to have a stabilized government with a thinking cap.
All right.
You have to use your professionals, not politicians, to determine what they need to. And you have to set your immediate, short-term, and long-term. So that we look at, as we begin to do from place to place, we are looking at the things. We cannot, let's see how to upgrade our facilities to where we are going to. Because you cannot be using facilities for 20 million, for 200 million. It won't work.
Thank you so much. Our time is completely up. I really appreciate it. I know we can go on and on, but there'll be enough time for us to expatiate on this. Well, you've heard him. He said for us to make a headway when we talk about power problems, let individuals get involved in power generation, power transmission, and of course, power distribution. That will just put us in the map as a continent, put us in the map as a country, put us in the global scene as a state. Well, you've heard him. I hope and wish that in the nearest possible time, all this power situation will be handled in Nigeria, in Africa, so that we can be transformed from the dark continent right now to light continent. Reverend, thank you once more. I appreciate a wonderful analysis.
Thank you very much.
All right, see you tomorrow, God willing, on International Forum. Bye for now.